Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Miguel Mora and Ghada Maghrebi. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. Miguel Mora was born in the mid-1980s and was raised in Rockford, Illinois. He became a lawyer before transitioning to a career as a crypto investor and a rapper, releasing what he referred to as music. Miguel and his wife Melissa lived in Queens, New York. Miguel claims to be the best and only crypto-punk rapper. I imagine this is like being the best juggler at a mime convention. Prior to finding this career, Miguel never really thought of himself as being a musician. In my opinion, Miguel was right the first time. He should have embraced his original belief tightly and never let go. Miguel goes by the name Spotty Wi-Fi and promotes himself as a dynamic force who merged hip-hop with cutting-edge technology. Considering the condition of his hair during one of his interviews, instead of selecting the name Spotty Wi-Fi, he should have gone with Spotty Hair Dye. Now moving to the other key player in the story, Ghada Maghrebi was born in 1977 in Libya. When she was 18 years old, she moved to the United States and eventually ended up in Tampa, Florida. She worked as a project manager. In 2007, Ghada earned a master's degree. In 2015, she started working as a construction manager for the Florida Department of Transportation. Ghada, along with two roommates, lived in a 6-bedroom, 3,600 square foot house on West Jetton Avenue. In November 2024, Miguel Mora and his wife Melissa moved from Queens, New York to Tampa, Florida. They purchased a house right next to Ghada's house for $990,000. Their 4-bedroom, 2,600 square foot house is jammed onto a lot that is only 4,300 square feet. This house faces South Moody Avenue, and the back of the house is very close to the west side of Ghada's house. The two houses are separated by a 6-foot wooden fence, which is on Miguel's property. 1 month before Miguel moved into his new house, he met Ghada. After Miguel returned to New York, she kept him up to date about storm conditions in the Tampa area via text message. Ghada was also helpful in other ways. For example, on one occasion when the alarm system in Miguel's house sent an alert, she investigated it for him. She sent him a message which read, quote, "We are all family here and we watch out for each other," unquote. This kind of generous sentiment between neighbors would not last for long. Before moving to the timeline of the incident, let's hear a word from today's sponsor, FlexiSpot. There are two FlexiSpot products I will look at today. The first is a washable rug. This rug is an 8x10 that combines style with practicality. Assembly was a breeze with straightforward instructions. The corners are secured by Velcro, and the carpet edges stay flat and do not curl. No more tripping hazards. Cleanup is simple because the rug is machine washable. The second product is the FlexiSpot Japanese Joinery Bed frame. It was easy to put together, no tools required. It took me just 25 minutes. The slats on the frame are secured with Velcro to reduce noise. The frame is extremely sturdy. It's made from sustainable rubber wood, durable, environmentally friendly, and it fits seamlessly into just about any decor style. The frame is affordable, ships within 1 to 2 days after being ordered, and has customizable options. There is plenty of storage room underneath. I fit my carry-on bag under the frame with no problem. Click the link below to experience the FlexiSpot bed frame for yourself. Don't miss out. Use my exclusive code GRANDE for an instant discount. Transform your sleep with comfort, convenience, and unmatched value. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On December 25, 2024, Christmas Day, at 2:20 a.m., Ghada was in her backyard having a loud party with friends. This included a lively conversation about a threesome. Miguel was able to overhear this discussion because, again, there wasn't much distance between the houses. In addition to the tawdry and terrifying threesome talk, music was playing loudly enough for Miguel to hear it inside his house. Miguel sent Ghada a text message which read, quote, "Hi Ghada, would you mind please taking the party inside or lowering the volume," unquote. Ghada replied, blaming her roommate, and promised it would never happen again, before adding, "Merry Christmas." Unfortunately for Miguel, no adjustment was made to the volume of the music. This wasn't the only time that Ghada played loud music. Rather, it was a regular occurrence. The music bothered Miguel and Melissa as they worked from home, and it kept them up at night. In January 2025, Miguel sent a text message to Ghada asking if she could be more mindful, saying, quote, "There have been many times like today where the music can be heard clearly down the block," unquote. On February 14, 2025, Ghada was arrested and charged with driving under the influence accompanied by a person under 18. There was a 2-year-old child in her vehicle. The police had approached her in a parking lot after a school fundraiser. She was in her 2024 Chevy SUV with a blood alcohol level of over 0.15. Ghada's arrest didn't do anything to address the loud music situation. On February 22, 2025, 8 days after Ghada's DUI arrest, Miguel called the police because loud music was coming from Ghada's house at night. Officers told him there was no violation. He called the police 3 more times that night, and eventually the music stopped. Ghada had placed security cameras on the 6-foot wooden fence. Again, this fence was owned by Miguel. He demanded that she remove them. When she wouldn't do it, Miguel took the cameras down himself. The police took the cameras from Miguel and returned them to Ghada after she reported a theft. They explained to Ghada that she was not allowed to touch the fence or go within 4 inches of it because Miguel's property extended 4 inches from the fence toward her house. This clarified the fence situation, but Miguel was still frustrated by the loud music. The noise ordinance in Tampa states that residents cannot play music between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., which is clearly audible 100 feet from the property line of its source. Miguel believed that the music coming from Ghada's house violated the city ordinance, but the police were not convinced. They told him to consider pursuing a civil case against her. As the feud continued to escalate, Miguel mounted a few cameras pointed at the space between the houses and at Ghada's house. Some of the cameras were actually on his fence, so Ghada would have been looking right at them when she walked to the side of her house. Ghada wasn't pleased with this because the cameras captured the area where her daughter would play. Despite this, the cameras remained in place. On March 3, 2025, Miguel noticed Ghada in one of his camera views. She was asleep in a chair outside next to a hookah. This is a water pipe used for smoking tobacco, cannabis, or other products. He contacted the police, who approached Ghada and woke her up. This happened at least 6 more times that month. Ghada kept falling asleep in a chair outside. The noise complaints also continued. The police were very familiar with this feud. On March 30, 2025, the police issued a trespassing warning to Ghada after she reached over Miguel's fence to video record him. On April 1, when Ghada had a court appearance for her DUI charge, Miguel was in the courthouse. When Ghada exited the courthouse, she noticed a digital billboard truck displaying her mugshot. Ghada was fired from her job. Her employer did not offer her a reason. At the time I'm making this video, the feud between Miguel and Ghada continues, but a resolution may be coming soon. Ghada listed her house for sale for $1.19 million. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. The police in Tampa, Florida responded to complaints related to the feud between Miguel and Ghada over 100 times. Both individuals maintain the other person is to blame for the feud. For the purpose of my analysis, I will assume that one of them is more to blame than the other. However, it is worth considering that both individuals are equally responsible for this mess. This brings me to the question, who is more to blame for the legendary feud between Miguel and Ghada? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that Ghada bears more of the blame. I will start with the factors supporting this theory. The loud music coming from Ghada's house on Christmas morning is what started this feud. There were no problems between the neighbors prior to this incident. Ghada could have easily stopped playing loud music outside. There is nothing difficult about that. It's almost like she was trying to antagonize Miguel to make him pay for ever complaining in the first place. Miguel video recorded Ghada making bizarre and unkind statements while standing on the side of her house. During one of the many times Ghada fell asleep in a chair outside, a police officer told her that he could hear her music down the block. Now moving to the factors that contradict the theory that Ghada was more responsible. Ghada told the media that even though she apologized for the incident on Christmas Day, upon reviewing surveillance video, she felt as though her roommate had not played the music that loud. The volume was reasonable. She indicated that hearing sounds in her neighborhood was a common occurrence, saying, quote, "This is South Tampa. There is noise. This is what you bought near," unquote. Ghada implied that Miguel was harassing her and even filed a request for prosecution for battery after she was hit with water from a garden hose coming over the fence. If the music coming from Ghada's house was played at an unacceptably high volume, why didn't the police issue her a citation? They have responded to one or both of the houses involved over 100 times. I'm sure the police are not thrilled about going there. If there was a crime, one would think they would be eager to hold someone accountable. Ghada indicated that she received odd text messages from numbers she did not recognize. For example, "Ghada, I'm so sorry to hear the news. The police report makes it sound really bad. And donate some money to fix your roof, you broke blank." The blank rhymes with the word glitch. Miguel admitted that he used a burner phone to send text messages to Ghada, supposedly to draw out information. This makes it seem like Miguel is obsessed with making Ghada pay. Some of his other efforts have also raised eyebrows in this regard. For example, he showed up at court when Ghada made her appearance for the DUI charge. Her image and details of her arrest were placed on a digital billboard truck. Miguel contacted the state attorney's office and offered them recordings of conversations involving Ghada, which he believed contained evidence of a crime. He contacted the Department of Children and Family Services. He sent details of Ghada's arrest to a gossip website. Miguel reported her to city code enforcement for allegedly having illegal tenants and running a boarding house. And on social media, Miguel posted that he recorded a new song titled Godzilla. Undoubtedly, this was meant to embarrass Ghada. However, considering it showcased Miguel's rapping skills, the real victim was anyone listening to it. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I believe that Ghada is more to blame? In my opinion, yes. Although I think both individuals have behaved poorly and should be ashamed of themselves. There are no heroes here, just two people demonstrating the maturity level of preschoolers. The reason I believe Ghada is more to blame is because having loud music coming from her property is unacceptable. This is common sense. She could have diffused this entire situation by simply being a respectful neighbor. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Ghada played loud music in her backyard, or allowed the music to be played. When Miguel expressed his concerns, Ghada became offended and deliberately antagonized him for months. She just couldn't let it go. What Ghada didn't realize was that Miguel was not going to back down. He escalated the situation and was dead set on making sure that Ghada was held accountable. The neighbors were entrenched and locked in a feud. Neither one was going to back down. Eventually, Ghada signaled a retreat by listing her house for sale. The question now is, who would want to have Miguel as a neighbor? Those are my thoughts in the case of Miguel Mora and Ghada Maghrebi. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.